Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into an IPO that did more than just launch a company. It actually tested the limits of its own stock market. Yep, we're talking about Woodcats International and how its public offering really broke the mold on the Jamaican Stock Exchange. And you don't have to take my word for it. Let's start right at the top, with the head of the Jamaica Stock Exchange himself. On listing day, he wasn't just talking about Woodcats. He was making this huge statement about the health of the entire market. He said this one IPO was a crystal clear signal of high confidence from investors. And this wasn't just some story for the bigwigs and institutional players. No way. This IPO created over 8,000 new shareholders. Think about that. That's thousands of everyday people getting a chance to own a piece of a growing Jamaican company. That number alone tells you everything about the public's engagement. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to look at why this listing was such a landmark event. Then we'll get to know the company at the heart of it all. We'll break down their record-breaking offer, see how the public reacted, and wrap it all up with why this one IPO really, truly matters. Right, so when Woodcats listed on March 17th, it wasn't just another Tuesday on the exchange. It was a day full of firsts, a legitimate milestone for Jamaica's junior market. So the context here is everything. As the very first IPO of the year, all eyes were on Woodcats. It became the 48th company on the junior market. That's the exchange built for smaller, high-growth companies. But get this, it immediately debuted with a market cap of over $2 billion, instantly making it one of the top 20 biggest companies on that market right from day one. So who is this company that stirred up so much excitement? Well, Woodcats is kind of like a quiet giant, a super crucial player working behind the scenes of Jamaican commerce. Simply put, Woodcats makes wooden pallets. If you've ever seen goods stacked high in a warehouse or being shipped for export or just moved around a factory floor, you've seen their work. They're that vital link in the supply chain for pretty much everything, from rum and coffee to cement and farm goods. And this chart just shows you their laser focus. I mean, while they do offer some other services, make no mistake, this is a pallet company through and through. A whopping 97.2% of their money comes directly from selling new, reconditioned, and repaired pallets. But here's where they get really smart. Nothing goes to waste. All the sawdust, all the wood cutoffs from the manufacturing process, they turn all of that into valuable products like garden mulch and animal bedding. It's this awesome circular model that cuts down waste and actually creates entirely new ways to make money. All right, let's get into the offer itself, because this IPO was different. This wasn't just about Woodcats raising cash. It was about testing the absolute limits of the market itself. So the Jamaica Stock Exchange had just upped the maximum amount a company could raise on the junior market, from $500 million all the way up to $750 million. And Woodcats? They were the very first company to step up to the plate and test this brand new, much higher ceiling. This was a really high-stakes moment for absolutely everyone involved. So let's look at how this record-breaking deal was actually built. They raised the full $750 million at 90 cents a share, but that cash was split right down the middle. $375 million went straight to Woodcats for their expansion plans, and the other half went to their parent company, Deramon Trading, as they sold off a piece of their stake. Okay, so you've got the biggest junior market offer ever sitting on the table. The huge question was, would the public actually buy in? How are investors and the experts going to react to this massive, unprecedented move? Well, the verdict came in loud, clear, and fast. The offer was oversubscribed, which just means way more people wanted shares than were actually available. This proved the market had a serious appetite for these larger deals. And to make sure it was fair, smaller investors were guaranteed a certain amount of shares, getting most but not all of what they asked for beyond that initial amount. And the pros? Oh, the professional analyst community was overwhelmingly bullish. Every single major brokerage house that put out a price target saw big gains coming from that 90-cent offer price. Some were even projecting gains of over 30% within the first year. That's a huge vote of confidence. But it wasn't a total clean sweep. The public reaction wasn't completely uniform. Some of the retail investor commentators, like the hosts of the Limitless podcast, were a little more cautious. They liked the company for sure, but they were weighing this new IPO against other good opportunities already trading on the market. It just highlights that for a lot of people, it really came down to priorities. So the offer closed, it was a success, the opinions were all in, and you had 8,073 brand new shareholders ready to go. The final test, the moment of truth, came on March 17th when the ticker symbol Woodcats finally went live. And boy, did the stock deliver. It popped on its very first day of trading, closing at $1.02. For anyone who got in on the IPO at 90 cents, that was an instant 13.3% return right out of the gate. I mean, what a fantastic start for all those new investors. But the price was only half the story. This stock absolutely dominated trading. On day one, it was responsible for 68% of all the shares traded on the entire junior market. The next day, that number jumped to nearly 80%. Even days later, it was still the #1 most traded stock, just showing sustained, massive interest from investors. This timeline really just sums up the incredible momentum. You go from a hugely oversubscribed offer in late February to a strong 13% pop on listing day, and then just complete domination of the market for days afterward. By every single metric, Woodcats had a blockbuster debut. So let's pull all of this together. What are the big takeaways here? Beyond just the success of one company, what does the Woodcats IPO really signal for the wider world of investing? When it comes right down to it, Woodcats wasn't just an IPO, it was a test case for the entire market, and it passed with flying colors. Its success sent this clear, unambiguous signal of deep investor confidence, basically giving a green light to other ambitious companies that are looking to raise more money to fuel their growth. And that, right there, is vital for the whole economy.
Woodcats has successfully broken the mold, and in doing so, they've raised the bar for what's possible on the junior market. And that just leaves us all with one very exciting question. Who's going to be next?